Welcome to Astro Talk, today with a very special guest, Sue Ward from England. Welcome.
Hello, nice to see you again.
And we talk for the third time, and today we will talk about the academic part of Sue Ward's life. You did start studying history in the University of East Anglia in 2015, something like that?
I did.
Why?
Wow. Two reasons, primarily. One, the the lovely late Elena Avalar nagged me until I did. And two, I wanted the skills that an historian has. Those were the two main reasons.
Okay. Why the last?
Um, for research purposes, and also uh, generally, a university education teaches critical thinking. And I think that's so important in the whole of life. But certainly when you are involved in research, which I have been for many years, but not very good at it. And I wanted to become good at it. So that really.
Well, you have been quite good at it when you did this book.
Oh, yes, with
Can,
Pete.
can you tell our listeners what you did when you did this book together with Peter Stockinger? Because there you did some sort of academic work.
We did a lot of research for that particular um, essay on John Gadbury. Um, that took a lot of work that we both did, but we were both hampered, I think, by not knowing the proper way to do it. And so we were always going around the long way with everything. Um, and we did recognize that we could have made our lives easier with the proper skills.
Okay, I'll change so okay. I changed it that we see the speaker all the time. Now, when you decided to go to study history, and in your case in England, you can do a Bachelor of Arts and only study history, not a second subject. How was the procedure? Did you send an email, I want to register, or did you go to the university? How did that happen?
Okay, well, the UEA, which is how it's known, is near or was very near to where I lived at the time.
Where did you live at the time?
Well, I lived not far from a place called Wyndham, which is about a 10-minute, 15-minute drive to the university.
Okay.
Not very far at all. But in any case, they ran um, a preparatory course, a kind of introduction um, to taking a history degree, reading for a history degree. And it kind of made sure that you could cope with it because I think you probably know studying at university is a lot of work and can sometimes be a lot of pressure. So I did a 6 week, I think it was, introductory course.
What
And
did they teach in that 6 weeks?
oh, that was very interesting, actually, because I said, even if they don't want me, I'd be very happy to have done this 6 week course. Um, because it taught you things like reviewing, book reviews, how to use a library, an academic library, so how to research and other things.
Wait a
Uh,
minute. What do you mean by how to research? How do you research in history?
well, you have to know, first of all, how to use the library, how to use your resources. That's the first thing. So, and we all think we know how to use a library until we walk into one. And then we think, hang on, where do I go now? Particularly when you're dealing with the archives. You do need to know how to find your way around the archives.
What do you mean by archives?
Where all the old stuff is, where all the manuscripts are and the old records and documents, not necessarily as old as I was dealing with. One of the very strong subjects at that university was in modern history, and the study of Stalin was a very big subject there. So that's modern, but you still have to know how to access that primary source material. Yeah.
And did the University of East Anglia have archives which were closer to your interest in astrology?
They had some, um, but my primary source material, of course, is usually in, well, it's either in the British Library, the State Library, or in the Bodleian Library, which is at Oxford and is private. So, yeah,
Is it still private today?
the Bodleian, yes.
Who finances the library?
The university, I believe.
No,
Uh,
wait a minute. If
okay.
it's private, it couldn't be the university because university. Oh, you're saying Oxford University is a private institution.
No, what I'm saying is, what I was going to go on to say was that a university like Oxford, which is the oldest, has all sorts of income streams from various investments, properties. They have a lot of property and have gained it over the centuries. So they can fund it. There may be trusts that deal with the various libraries, that the Bodleian isn't the only one they have. Um, and they may get government funding. I don't know.
So basically, somebody is behind who is private. Is a trust in the who runs the Bodleian?
No, well, I suppose uh, it's a really old library, and I think began with the Ashmolean collection. Um, so they will have, I don't know how their funding works, I'm afraid, and I doubt that very many people do, because it is one of the dark arts, I believe, is how universities get their funding.
Okay, so back to your 6 weeks course. You learned how to use the library and the archives. What else was important in the 6 weeks?
Oh, how to write an essay, an academic essay. Uh,
What is so difficult to write an essay? You learned that in high school.
no, you write an essay in school. You don't write an academic essay in school.
What's the difference?
It's structure, the way it's structured.
Okay, what is the structure of an academic paper?
Okay, well, let's see. It sounds straightforward, but it has to have a beginning, a middle, and an end.
Well,
And
that's in high school too.
yes, but the beginning has to introduce you to what is coming at the end. Your argument is the middle bit. All of that has to be referenced. You cannot just say something. You have to reference everything.
So
Your
basically, you learn how to use footnotes.
Yes, I suppose that's true. Yes.
Okay. So the difference is in high school, no footnotes, in academia, footnotes.
Yeah, I don't know. I would say in academia, yes, you absolutely do. The only time you don't use footnotes is in an exam.
Okay. So what else in the 6 weeks?
Sure, I can't remember now.
Okay, let's go back. Now the 6 weeks ended, then you did apply for being a student at University of East Anglia in the Department of History, or what department did you apply to be?
School of History.
School, it's called School of History. That sounds like there is more than one school and the schools are combined in a department. Is that correct?
No, the departments come under the heading of the school. So in the School of History, you have various departments,
Oh, okay.
modern, early modern, and medieval, largely. And there's another, which is landscape history.
Okay. So is the university organized in schools like School of History? Or is there something above of that?
No, no, so there'd be various schools, which I suppose in other people's experience would be faculties. Um,
So, but you're saying School of History in University of East Anglia is comparable to a faculty.
I think so.
Okay, good. Now, you became a student. Did you live there or did you
Commute. No, no, I
commute?
didn't. Yeah, I didn't live far enough away, and student accommodation leaves quite a lot to be desired. So
Okay.
no, I wasn't going
So
to do
so
that.
was it a trimester or semester structure?
Semester.
So winter and spring semester.
Yes.
Did you start in winter?
Yes, you always start September, October.
Okay, September, the first day you enter the building, what happened?
What happened? Chaos ensued. You had to go to well, I think first of all you had an introductory lecture, so you'd have to go to one of the lecture theatres. Um, you had already chosen the modules that you want to study.
Okay, which one had you chosen?
Well, you're not given a great deal of choice in the first year. You have to do in history, you have to do, I think it was 5 modules. My memory is not great. I can't remember
Okay,
details, but you had to do one of each. So a modern module, an early modern, and a medieval, and historiography.
okay.
You had to do one of those.
So that was the first semester.
Yes,
Okay, second semester.
was similar but different subjects, of course.
What sort of subjects then?
Oh, one of the subjects that I think attracted most people was witchcraft.
Hmm. Was there a professor there who was?
Yes, yes.
It wasn't Hutton is the most famous one, right?
Well, it's not, you're not being taught magic. This is an unseen university. Um, you're being taught the study of witchcraft as it appeared in the early modern period, as a panic or an hysteria.
But what was the name of your professor who taught you witchcraft history?
Ah,
So it's not it that tells us it's not a very famous one because then you would
well,
remember.
no, not necessarily. My memory is appalling.
It's
He
not it's not
he's well
important.
known. No, he's well known in the field. I can't remember his name, and if he
Okay.
watches this, I'm really sorry. I
No, it's not no
can't.
problem.
Remember.
What was your impression of study the history of witchcraft? Was it a very materialistic approach, or was there part of a spiritual aspect?
No, no, it was historical. It was the
Well, historical can be
No, no,
rational.
no. It was history, and the history of it in
Yes,
terms of
but
its social.
you can teach from a philosophy standpoint. I'm a materialist, I am an atheist, and I look at the history of witchcraft. Or you could study the same subject, for example, being grounded in Christian faith or in Islamic faith or in Jewish faith or in pagan faith. So your personal philosophy and faith determines how you teach as a professor.
Mm.
How was your experience in?
No, it wasn't like that at all. It was taught as a kind of social, cultural history. So you were taught, we learnt about how people responded to threats of witchcraft.
That sounds
We learnt
mater
how the law,
that sounds rational materialistic.
well, probably is, yes, if that's
Uh,
how you want to describe it. I mean,
uh, yeah,
we
okay.
certainly weren't into the philosophy of it, or it was the social and cultural background, really.
Did you ever have a module with philosophy or
No,
belief systems? No.
no.
Did astrology play any part in your studies?
Well, only in that there are certain periods, medieval and early modern being too, where you can't avoid astrology. It is everywhere within those records. Um, so in that sense, yes, but otherwise, no.
Did you have somebody researching astrological history in your university?
There was one of my lecturers did tell me of someone, one of his students, who was researching the astrology, but I don't know from what perspective. He said he'd introduce me to him, but that never happened, unfortunately.
Okay.
So no, I mean, I used it towards the end of my studies. By
What did you use?
I used one of William Lilly's charts in his publications, which was the urine of John Pym. So
Okay.
I used that as an analysis for one of my assignments,
Okay.
and that went down very well because my lecturer at the time is it was very well versed in the course and has come across astrology a lot in his studies. So there was no surprise there for him.
Okay. Okay. That what semester are we now? In the third semester? When you did use this chart?
Oh, no, that would be towards the end because I was a part-time student, so I was there for 5 years.
Okay, so at the fifth year, in the going to the end of your studies, was this part of your how do you have to write a sort of dissertation at the end of a bachelor study?
No, not for a bachelor degree, that's in the master's.
Okay,
Um,
how is it called in the bachelor? It's assignment.
just an assignment, and you'll have various types of assignment, essays, reviews, analyses, various sorts.
So the degree Bachelor of Arts in History in the University of East Anglia is sort of a accumulation of papers from assignments. And if you have finalized the last assignment, then you have the degree. Is that
No,
correct?
you have to go through a series of exams as well.
Oral and written?
Written,
Only written exams.
yes,
Okay, and then we are in 2020.
yes.
And how was your exam? You were with honors, I believe.
Yes, it's an honors degree because it's graded. And of course that 2020 was the lockdown year
Yes.
for COVID. So just as we were entering exam season, so kind of June of that year, everything was being locked down, and it became clear that a standard exam session was not going to happen with a hall filled with students. So they had to find another way of doing the final exams. Um, and it must have given them absolute nightmares because we had to do them at home. And of course, you have all of your notes and your books and everything around you and the internet. So plagiarism was obviously high on the agenda.
Oh, okay.
But it suited me very well because I don't perform well in exams. Um, it's not that I get nervous, it's that as I sit down at that desk with that paper turned over in front of me, my mind kind of empties. It kind of goes out of that ear, just empties onto the ground, and I have a blank mind. I don't know quite what happens, but anyway, it happens. So being able to do this at home, and I did it fairly, um, enabled me to get the grade I needed to get a first.
Okay. And when we talked in 2020, because our second session was in 2020 about your course in Horary astrology and how to do the course and what the course contains, and then you mentioned that you were thinking about doing a master degrees.
Oh, yes, yes.
Can you elaborate on that process, which finally ended in not doing it?
Okay. Um, I was very keen and I had a lot of work prepared for the masters. I'd been invited to do the masters,
About what theme?
astrology. I
That's a broad. That's
No, I was analysing and an edition of one of Lilly's books, his Saturn Jupiter book, Prophetical Merlin. So I'd
what was
done,
that? Was that book printed already, or did you?
yes,
So you were considering to do a master thesis about a printed book.
yes,
Okay.
yes.
And what happened then?
It was too long. The gap was too long. And I realized that the idea of more deadlines and more pressure wasn't suiting me at all.
Okay. So instead,
I put pressure on by doing the other thing.
yes, and instead of that, you were doing exactly the same thing without university
Yeah,
guidance,
I know, I know.
and that is William Lilly, the astrologer, book of sources.
Yes,
You can buy it at Amazon. William Lilly, the astrologer, a book of sources, volume one.
yes.
Why did you do that?
because I was still glamoured by university study and education. I love it and I loved it. Perhaps I was a little bit too enthusiastic at times, but I did love it. And I didn't really want to leave that side of it. It was the deadlines and all of that that I didn't want. So I also had quite a lot of manuscript material that I'd had for years and years.
Okay.
And it was a question of what had always been a question of what to do with it. Well, now I had some of those historians' skills. I had a better idea. And Louise Ribeiro, neither of them, Elena nor Louise, ever liked to see me doing nothing. So were constantly finding me jobs to do. And this was the next one. Get these manuscript sources together and compile a book. Now, initially, it was one book, one volume. Um, but
Well,
then,
it was published 12 December 2024, and then it didn't become one book. There is a second one.
yes.
That is May 2020, this year. This was published this year. Now, who publishes it? Did you do book on demand with Amazon, or did you have a publisher?
No, it's Prisma Edições are the publishers in Lisbon.
Oh,
And
oh, it's a Portuguese publisher because your connection with Luis Ribeiro.
it is really, yes, yes,
Yes, okay. Uh, did you ever think about going to your university and showing them your book? It's your work, right?
yes.
And
Um,
there is in some universities they have the practice that you can come with something finished already and then get a degree for what you did without them. Is that
oh,
possible?
I think I've heard of that. And somebody else mentioned that to me more recently. Um, but no, I hadn't
You
really
you you
considered
have
it.
you haven't approached them. Could you do with these books of mine something like a master degree? I do some extra courses and then that's that.
Yeah, what I was told was that this 3 volume book could well gain me entrance to a PhD program.
Yes, that's correct. The third volume is coming this year.
Yes, fingers crossed.
Fingers crossed.
Yeah.
So, okay, and now we go into the details. What's the content? What are these books and who are the potential readers? Who is the audience you are focusing on?
Okay. One of the purposes of this work was to make this material, these resources available. It's to provide evidence. The historiography, as far as William Lilly is concerned, and also astrology more generally, has been quite unkind. That's not always the case, but it is sometimes the case because nobody cares very much to check, and it is difficult to check because you have to get down into the archives to look for this material. So historians of various sorts have got away with murder for years, in my view. And so I wanted to provide researchers with the evidence that would make it easier for them to produce more accurate research work. And that was mainly what it's about. In the course of that, more manuscripts came to light, which required a second volume because the first would have been massive and far too big to handle. So a second volume was necessary. And once that was done, or almost done, we realized that there was a third volume to be written because we now had still more manuscripts. Um, and this is leading on to your screen, really what is at the bottom of the William Lilly project.
These three books, well, they are important for historians in academia, of course. Are they important for students of horary astrology?
Well, I think so, because, well, of any astrology, because it represents the history of astrology, at least from one practitioner's perspective. But the third volume will go into how that is important to the continuity of astrology, in that William Lilly, apart from his application of the system, is not producing a novel system. And this is important to understand, and it's important to understand his links to the past, because I think one of the things that is criticisms that is thrown at the tradition is that it's old-fashioned, that it doesn't encompass new things. Well, new things have been going for centuries, haven't they? Millennia. The wheel was once new. And fire. So I think that, most generations are used to novelty.
When we read you are the author,
Yes.
then there is the publisher. You are Arcadia, is that the publisher?
Yes. He's the
Okay, so
yes.
but the text is from you only.
Yes. It's a compilation of Lily's work. Yes.
How did you find all the material in the Bodleian?
Most of it's from the Bodleian. I'd already got an awful lot of it. And then working with Louise Ribeiro, um, that's a funny story. You might be interested. Uh, we've been talking for a long time on the telephone, and I was constantly bemoaning the fact that I had so few folios of Lily's practice books, his day-to-day work as an astrologer. And I did eventually write to the Bodleian and ask for a quotation, a price for getting them copied. And it was phenomenal. It made your teeth bleed. So there was no way that was going to happen. And Louise said, oh, one of these days, he said, I'm going to go to that library and I'm going to photograph the lot. So yeah, great. That would be lovely, wouldn't it? Not really thinking that that was going to be a fact. And I just continued to moan. I said, we really, as I looked at more and more of this material closely, it became essential to have how he applied these things. Anyway, cutting a longish story short, Louise Upton went to the library at Oxford, the Bodleian, and photographed everything.
Was that allowed?
Yes,
So you can take your camera and do this
yes,
like a spy.
yes,
Okay.
yes.
How many pictures did that take?
Hundreds and hundreds.
Okay, and how did you work on these pictures then?
Right, so
I was watching an address. There is this Astra project on YouTube, and
yes.
there was a memoriam for Otto Neugebauer, and could see how Otto Neugebauer was sitting at his desk looking at pictures from papyri, and that is what you did. You looked at pictures
I have studied his daily work through
with
the
pictures
photographs. Yes,
with
yes,
those
photograph.
photographs,
Yes.
and now you have to do a
Oh,
sort of.
Volker, most researchers do this these days.
Oh, okay. Now, how do you transform the pictures into a book?
Okay. Well, what you do is, and what I'm doing is I'm trying to, in the first instance, address his place in history, so and within the historiography. So that requires evidence. And the evidence of that is within his own work and within his own words, of course. So that's one part of it. Also tying up some of the loose ends that we keep finding flying around, not just on the internet, pre the internet, trying to tie up some of those because we now have the internet, the evidence. But the most important feature is his practice books, because there you find him working every day with what he's teaching in Christian astrology. And that has proved to be. I thought I knew William Lilly and his work pretty well, but I have been absolutely astonished by what I found in the study. Astonished. And this is I'm going to produce numbers of charts from his practice books in this third volume to give an idea of what he's doing and how he's doing it. So in that, I have to be able to analyze it astrologically. So from an astrological point of view, it becomes of interest, but also from a historical point of view, and historical astrological point of view, also, because it's showing development, evolution in application, whilst the system remains the same.
Do you have to change your course and your course book?
I have changed one thing. Because I teach the system as he gives it, that's not an issue. This is fine. My attitude towards judgment has changed, not the mechanics. The mechanics remain the same, but my attitude to judgment has changed.
In what way?
In that I have become much more simplistic in my approach, much more refined.
That's very abstract. What do you mean by
It
simplistic?
is. Well, shorter,
Okay.
briefer, looking more pointed, looking at particulars, which have always been there, have always been taught, learnt, and so on, but giving the proportional emphasis in the right places and judging from that. So whereas people might think that you've got to do a judgment, I don't know, 2 or 3 A4 sheets for a particular, no. 2 or 3 sentences should do it, in
Okay.
fact. You know, I
Okay.
mean, I'm exaggerating, but you know what I mean.
So now I'm getting curious what this new project is.
Okay.
This is to be found on the homepage of the Astra project, which is located in Lisbon and has rather famous researchers in the board, scientific advisors. You can see this is the creme de la creme
Yes, yes,
of the academic researchers on the history of astrology.
yes.
Now, you have these 3 books. Why do you need that project? And
What's
by the way, if you are on the homepage of the Astra project, how could I find the Lilly project? I didn't see a link on the homepage.
is there not? Oh,
Uh,
have a look. Oh, there you are. Project.
where is that?
Home project team. The top line.
Project here,
That's
project.
it.
Okay,
Yeah, I think so. Is that it?
let's see what comes up. No, that's the Astra
That's
project.
Astra.
That's
Oh, I
not the
don't
Lilly.
know. I'll have to mention that to him.
You have to have the specific link. You
Yes,
have to have this link.
forgotten that. Okay, let me.
Yeah,
Um,
okay. So now what about the project? Why is it necessary, considering that your 3 books are in print, the 3rd book pretty soon this year is
oh
in
yeah.
print?
Well, I can't get all of that lot. Um, I'll do that in a minute. I can't do all of that
What do you mean by
in
all?
one book. There
What?
are thousands of charts, Volker.
Oh,
Thousands.
Oh, you mean we are talking about the situation that you have three books, but there's a lot of photographs from Louis
Well,
who are not used up in your three
well, if you,
books.
yeah, well, if you look here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 practice books.
Wh-
These are all being catalogued
You
individually,
mean these ones? This one?
yes, and analyzed. So they are, and each one contains a different number of charts, and every one of those charts is being catalogued and analyzed.
Okay,
That's what the project is.
who is part of this special project?
Me and Louise at the moment.
Okay, so there is room for additional researchers
Well,
to.
there may be, but it's a very specialist subject, isn't it? Your skills need to be various.
So
Um,
basically, you have a project which goes beyond the three books, which is a continuation of the three books. You could
in a sense, but it's much bigger than those.
but you could have decided to do a fourth, fifth, sixth, seven books. You didn't want to do that.
Not in this lifetime, Volker.
Okay. So how does the work in the project works? You are in you moved recently. Where do you live now?
Yes, I moved to here.
Which is
Here I
where?
am. It's actually a little further south from my previous home, still in Norfolk,
Norfolk. Okay.
but just close, very close to the Suffolk border. So I've come a bit further south.
Okay. Now you are there, and Luis is in Lisbon. You have email, you have Zoom conferences, you have telephone. How do you work concretely in this project? Give us an insight. Let's take one chart and what Lily did with it. How do you work on that?
Well, no, what
And
we do.
how do you publish the results of what you're doing in this
Oh,
work?
that's a completely different question. We can come on to that. That's okay. At the moment, what's happening is that all of this information is being put into a spreadsheet. This gives us a way of changing that later to a database because what we think we want to do is put it all online.
Okay.
In much the same way as the Casebooks project of Simon Foreman and Richard Napier, the Cambridge, the one headed up by Lauren Castle. They've made a fantastic job of that, absolutely fantastic job. But they didn't address the astrology, and there's lots of good reasons for that, but they didn't. And we will be looking at that, of
Okay.
course, which is why I'm saying it needs a variety of skills. You know, paleography, understanding early modern history because of some of the historical, the cultural, the political things that come up within it. You also have to have an understanding of Latin because they use both English and Latin, sometimes within the same sentence. And you have to understand how Lilly works because he has a style of.
Okay. Okay.
So,
Basically, that is what you're doing. And now the question comes up, that's not all your life. You have the course, you have your
yes,
books,
yes,
and you have, do you have clients still?
yes.
So how do you manage to juggle all those projects?
I'm superhuman, Volker is what I am. I don't sleep. No, I think I have to give priority. So a client's work would come quite near the top of that list because often these things are urgent. You know, they're time delimited. Students are also important because they're paying me for my time and they deserve to have
Is
that.
it still 40 pounds an hour?
No, 50.
Oh, you had to upgrade
I've
it.
decided
Well,
I'm
it's
on.
5 years later, everything is getting more expensive. So the private
The course
tutoring,
is the same. The course is the same price.
the private tutoring is 50 pounds an hour, and the course is the same. So basically, did we cover what we intended to cover today?
Well, yes, I think so. I mean, divvying up my time is whatever is left over after those two things goes into the project.
Yeah,
And
okay.
I've been just moved. I've had kind of a month off.
Okay, okay.
I just restarted work.
Okay.
So
So,
I'm
so
looking forward to getting back into that, and producing more. But all of those practice books will be catalogued in due course. Oh, and the other thing you asked me was about publishing results, and that holding page on the website is to keep people up to date with how that is progressing. But we will also be advertising there whenever a paper is due to be published or is going up online.
but it doesn't go into books.
No, I think probably not. I think the idea is to make this material accessible. So it's unlikely to be on someone's Patreon site, or anything like that.
How many research you know personally are into William Lilly's work besides
Many
yourself,
do I
Louis?
know? I don't know very many. In fact, I don't know any because I'm not
Okay,
within that circle. I
okay.
don't work within
But
academia,
but you
unfortunately. So I
haven't
don't
you
know.
have you haven't seen a network either of the astrological communities or the academia specifically interested in doing research on Lilly, do
Yeah,
they?
I think the list you showed of those connected with the Astra project, um, are people who would be interested in something like
Okay,
this. They're
okay,
mostly academics.
okay,
Astrologers, I have no idea
okay.
who would be interested in this because, I'm kind of in my little bubble.
Yeah, okay. So
Yeah.
basically, we did what we wanted to do today.
I think so, yes. Thank you for your very difficult questions again. I'm sorry that my memory failed.
No, no problem. It was a nice talk to give an insight to astrologers who didn't have academical background, how they could change that.
Yes, I mean, if anyone wants to do it, and get a good degree, one
Yeah,
that's going to
yeah,
teach you
yeah. Okay,
how to research, how to get the best out of your work, because that's
okay.
the whole point, isn't it?
So I say thank you to Sue Ward for the third
Thank you
time,
for inviting me.
and I stop the recording. Thanks to the audience. Danke fürs Vorbeischauen und auf bald.